Oh yeah, today's topic is BlackRock. Now let's figure out exactly how we got to where we're at right now with BlackRock holding more than $9 trillion with assets under management. Now before we get there, my name is John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers. This is Greater Wealth Through Mastery. And yes, the topic of today's talk is BlackRock, but how did we get here and why does it matter? Well, first of all, BlackRock does indeed control $9 trillion assets under management. And this is pretty incredible. But how did we get here? Well, it comes down to the great financial crisis, 07, 08, 09, and things just went belly up. So what exactly happened? Well, the history is that Merrill Lynch really took the hit. They went belly up. They had to be saved. Well, here's the thing that most people don't know. Merrill Lynch owned nearly 50% of BlackRock. Very few people back in 07, 08, 09 really knew anything about BlackRock. Now, they'd come up and it was somewhat important to some people, but mostly people had not heard much about BlackRock. Well, fast forward to today, and we're talking about $9 trillion assets under management. So what happened is Merrill Lynch went belly up, but someone had to come in and save them. And this is the part that most people don't know, and this is where the connections really begin. In a backroom deal, Bank of America swooped in and bought Merrill Lynch. So again, Bank of America bought Merrill Lynch. Well, Merrill Lynch owned 50% or so of BlackRock. Therefore, you've got it right, Bank of America, stock symbol BAC, owns 50% of BlackRock. BlackRock owned by Bank of America. Pretty incredible, okay, 50% or so. That's still incredible. That means that indirectly, Bank of America controls $4.5 trillion via BlackRock. So this is just so incredible. You can just go back in time and think to yourself, well, BlackRock, who are they? They're so small. What's really going on? And then whoosh, financial crisis. Bank of America swoops in, buys Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch owns the 50% or so of BlackRock. It's just under 50%. So that is very, very incredible. And that's where these spider webs of ownership and control come from. And that's why it's so opaque, so difficult to see into a particular bank or a particular financial institution and understand what it is they do, what they own, how they control and manipulate what is happening in the economy, working hand in hand with other corporations, bank and non-bank corporations, but also the government. So this is what I'm talking about. And this is really critical. So please zoom in on this. What's going on is that BlackRock has a technology called Aladdin. Keeping it very simple, there's no reason to make this complex at all. Keeping it very simple, BlackRock owns and operates Aladdin. So what Aladdin does is help mitigate and manage risk. It also keeps track of various financial activities to see what is coming and what is going in the market. It's almost like a crystal ball, if you will. Now, the incredible thing is that you need to think about who's using this Aladdin technology. Well, obviously, BlackRock is using this technology, but it also means that Bank of America is directly and indirectly utilizing Aladdin. Okay, well, who else uses Aladdin? And now this is where things get really wild if you ask me. You've got JP Morgan, yes, a bank. You've got JP Morgan Chase, that is, and Citigroup at a minimum utilizing Aladdin. So that means that Bank of America is allowing or letting through BlackRock to use Aladdin, right? So it's like, wait a minute, Bank of America and JP Morgan and Citibank are all utilizing Aladdin? Answer, yes. And again, we're talking about $9 trillion in assets under management for BlackRock as well. And they're all using this technology. Now, I'm going to pause here a minute. I'm going to talk a little bit about more about the ownership and utilization of Aladdin. But what I want to know is, do you want to know more about Aladdin itself, the technology, what exactly it does? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to shoot a video very much focusing on Aladdin, but I need to hear from you about that. Who else uses Aladdin? Insurance companies. So we're talking about MetLife and AIG, for example. Also asset managers, PIMCO, very just huge. Vanguard as well. Pension funds like CalPERS. And it goes on, the list goes on. And all of these organizations, are utilizing Aladdin. Now, this is very similar, if you ask me, very similar to how government organizations, military and non-military, are utilizing Palantir AI technology to gather, absorb, and otherwise dissect, right, and look into data for a wide variety of purposes. If you'd like to know more about Palantir, stock symbol PLTR, do let me know. I know a ton about Palantir. I'd love to talk about it. And I think that there are very strong similarities between Aladdin and the various the technology stack of Palantir. I think that they are very closely related. I'd love to talk about that. But again, let me know in the comments below. Okay, so the interesting thing is that the BlackRock Aladdin technology is also helping governments. And this is what I mean. When the government runs into financial issues, they very often go to BlackRock and seek out financial guidance and advice. Okay, so they're actually looking to outsiders, but who are those outsiders? Well, it's BlackRock. And why BlackRock? In large part, it is because of the scope and size of assets under management, but I think it is much more tied to Aladdin itself and the technology that BlackRock employs, which is half owned by Bank of America, a bank, and it goes deeper and deeper. But this is just amazing. I think that there is power being pushed around, absorbed, but it's all the same folks. It's all the same power players. You hear names like Larry Fink thrown around, and you have to wonder why. Like, why is this happening? Why does this happen? Well, it happens to be that there is technology that is being used that people want, need within the government in order to control what is happening with the money supply, what is happening in terms of how the money is allocated to who or whom. And it's just one of those things where if you don't understand the ownership, then you can't understand the power of the technology. And they do go hand in hand. Power comes from not only money, but the movement of money, the allocation of money, how money is even perceived. And what I mean by that is you can look at the investment criteria, the investment imperatives, what the WEF, for example, or World Bank, what these financial institutions and governments are actually trying to do with the money. It's not just the cash, the money supply. It's not just the central banks. It goes deeper than that because it is very much tied to the technology. And this is why I think that Palantir and also the Aladdin technology with BlackRock, owned by Bank of America, is so interesting and so terribly important to understand if you want to know who controls the world and how the world is controlled. Very much technology is embedded in our financial system, and this is just one way, one mechanism by which technology enables leaders, if you want to call them that, around the world to manipulate, control, persuade, and really how not just millions or even billions or hundreds of billions, but how trillions of dollars are allocated to things that maybe you understand or don't understand, or that I understand or don't understand. For example, you have to wonder why climate change, the temperature rising, temperature falling, and so on, right? If you want to talk about climate, and I will neither say things are this way or that way, that's largely irrelevant. What does matter is the mandate, right, and the regulations and also the laws that have been put into place to push the world in or pull the world. Again, I'm not taking a position here at this point on that in this video. But what I will say is you can look at the climate and say, well, what is really going on here and who is allocating money and why? And is it for humanity's good? Is it for your good? And what does that mean? Why does technology and why does the movement of money, why does that marry up so closely with the mandates of handling the changes or the activity with the climate? And you can start to understand that when money moves to certain sectors, those sectors improve and they grow, profits are to be made, and then other industries may or may not be harmed as a result. Also, there's a matter of control of the population, and what does that mean? Working with the population. You can also look at politics. And again, I'm just throwing ideas out there, things for you to ponder and contemplate. I'm not setting an agenda here, unlike other people and unlike the government and perhaps corporations. I'm just pointing out that there are connections between the money, the technology, and the people in the corporations, right? Public and private, public-private integrations as well, and obviously politics as a whole. It's very interesting. You can start to understand exactly how your money is used, who's using it, why they're using it, and even the money that's not yours, how it's moving around and how it impacts your life. But reeling it all back in, Merrill Lynch went under. Bank of America comes in, saves Merrill Lynch behind the scenes, and as a result, they acquired 50% of Blackrock, which has $9 trillion assets under management. And again, it's like, well, who knew? Who knew that? Very few people knew this, know this, or understand some of the implications of how that technology is deeply embedded in the financial system and actually the government as well. No conspiracy theories here, nothing crazy, just pointing out connections, movement of money and technology all at once. And it's like, hey, what is really going on? What's really happening here? And you can start to do some of your own research. If you want to know more from the Rhodes brothers on this topic and related topics, by all means, let us know in the comments below. That being said, this is John S. Rhodes signing off. Oh, and I will say one more thing. If this resonates with you, if this makes sense, if you want to share it with other people, please do so, because it's word of mouth referrals just like yours that help the channel grow. And by helping the channel grow, the entire community grows and we all benefit. I'll see you in the next video. Look around the channel and you'll find something else of special value. Thank you and take care.